Well, it looked for a while that the stock market was just going to shoot straight to the moon. Unfortunately, it has become somewhat flat. The question is, what was driving it so hard and then all of a sudden just put on the brakes and kind of stall? With us now, Karl Eggerss of Eggerss Capital Management. And I understand what was driving it at the time.
Do you? Do you really?
Dramatic growth everywhere, at least in the state of Texas, and there was a lot of money here to invest.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, Karl, for the past couple of years, it has it roller coastered for a while, and now it's just kind of it's barely making a ripple, up a little bit, down a little bit, up, down. It's kind of stabilized.
There's the fact that the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates at 0% for 7 years now is unprecedented. And that's fueled people to do things they wouldn't normally do. For example, if you're sitting there trying to earn some money in a money market or CD, good luck. And that's not going to change anytime soon. And so it's forced people to go buy dividend stocks. It's forced people to be more productive with their money, maybe go buy a rent house or do something productive with your money than let it sit there in the bank. So that's been one thing. Number two, you mentioned that the economy's improved. We got some data recently on the San Antonio economy. I was really surprised how strong San Antonio is compared to the nation. Right now, our job growth is much faster. Our unemployment rate is much, much lower than the national rate. National rate's at 5.5%. I think San Antonio's around 3.8%. And then also on top of that, wage growth. So people are getting raises at a much faster clip than the national rate. Nationally, it's like 2.8%. In San Antonio, it's basically in the 4s.
Yeah, can you tell me what industry that's in?
It's in broadcasting.
We also got some news earlier in the week, too, and I want to say it was from the International Monetary Fund that said globally that the growth is much slower than it was anticipated. So that's going to have, I would think, some kind of mark on the markets, if not this coming week. I'm surprised it didn't take a bigger dip at the end of the week.
Well, see, the Fed's backed themselves in the corner because the United States is ready for higher interest rates. They should have raised them long ago. If you look back historically, based on all the fundamentals in the United States and our economy, interest rates should be higher right now. The problem is just what you said. Internationally, they're looking around. There are places in the world where interest rates are negative, believe it or not, literally negative. So if you buy a government bond from some of these places, you're paying interest. It's crazy what's going on. So because things are a little slower around the world, the Fed's very hesitant to raise interest rates because that could choke off any recovery we have here in the United States.
But they've hinted for months, and actually about a year and a half, going back probably
Right.
18 months or so, that look, we're going to have to raise rates. We're going to have to raise rates, and then every quarterly meeting they come out and say, "Oh no, we're going to, and we'll get just a little bump,"
right.
but not. It's not. It's really not a relative bump, but at some point they're going to have to raise rates.
They have, and since their rhetoric has bumped up the last 6 months or so, you've noticed the stock market's been a little more turbulent than it has been, a little more flat. Having said that, though, I don't think they're going to do anything in the next few weeks or few months. I think the stock market still has a little bit higher to go, and because there's no other choice for people and for their money.
But also a correction can't be far off either.
No, definitely. I mean, we haven't had a 10% correction in the stock market, a legit 10% correction over 3 years, which is very, very unusual. So corrections can come. What we're more concerned about is when does that bear market start? And we still see several more months of higher prices in the stock market before we get that, primarily because interest rates are going to stay so low.
All right, real quick, what are we watching this week?
Biotech right now is very hot, but it's in a bubble, a very, very risky area. However, there's one company called Gilead Sciences, GILD, which is a company that is very established. It's more of a pharmaceutical company. It's actually very inexpensive. So I think if you want to go in the biotech area and do it in a cheaper fashion, Gilead is the way to go.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Karl, good to see you. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll take a quick break and come right back.